Welcome to the online class, 8th standard, first language English, first lesson, the heavenly parasol. The heavenly parasol, that is the divine umbrella. Meaning, pre-reading task. Mace is a simple weapon. It has a heavy wooden or metal shaft, often reinforced with metal, featuring a head made of stones, copper, bronze, iron, or steel. It was used in traditional warfare. For example, Bhima and Duryodhana fought with the maces in the Mahabharata war. Nowadays, maces are used as symbols of authority in the emblems of a number of government bodies, universities, and academic, parliamentary, or civic rituals. Now, explaining this, see, this is mace. It is a simple weapon. Weapon means what used for fighting, that is in war. It is an object used for fighting, that is during war only. And it has a heavy wooden metal shaft, this one, shaft, that is handle. Reinforced. Reinforced means that it is covered with the metal, featuring that is having character inside its head made of stone, copper, bronze, iron, or steel. Where do we use? We use it in traditional warfare before. That is example, Bhima and Duryodhana fought with the maces in the Mahabharata war. Now, nowadays, maces are used as a symbols of authority. This is symbol of authority in the emblems of a number of government bodies, universities, and academic, parliamentary, or civic rituals. Civic rituals means religious functions. Now coming to the question, what is a mace? A mace is a simple weapon. What are the features of a mace? A mace has a heavy wooden or metal shaft, often reinforced with the metal, featuring a head made of stones, copper, bronze, iron, or steel. Now, what are the uses of a mace? A mace was used in traditional warfare. Nowadays, maces are used as symbols of authority in the emblems of a number of government bodies, universities, and academic, parliamentary, or civic rituals. Now, next, coming to the next, that is also pre-reading task only. Discuss these or aspects with your classmates and write down the answers. What is a parasol? Parasol is an umbrella used for protection from the heat of the sun and also rain, and also as a symbol of a royalty. Where it is used? Parasol is commonly used as a protective device against intense sunlight and rain. Why is it used? Why is it used? An umbrella is designed to protect us from the rain and also from the harmful effects of the sun. Later, it became the objects of power and status. It was used to protect gods and religious leaders. That's what here you can see. Oh, that parasol, that is for a divine gods, parasol is used during procession, and it is a simple parasol. Now, coming to the lesson. Before going through the lesson, we'll see the introduction of the lesson. This is a beautiful story. The Heavenly Parasol is one of the Raj Tarankini Kashmiri tales written by Kallana. Kashmir has more than 5,400 years of history. And Meghavana comes in 80th lineage who ruled Kashmir during 80 to 40 BC. Now coming to the lesson. There was once a beautiful princess in the town of Prajyotisha called Amritaprabha. When she came of age, the king held a Swayamvara to enable her to choose her husband. Many illustrious suitors, lured by tales of Amritaprabha's beauty, assembled there. So the meaning of this para is, there was a beautiful princess called Amritaprabha in the town of Prajyotisha. When she reached the age of, that is marriage age, the king, her father, held a Swayamvara. Swayamvara means Swayam, that is self-vara, selecting bridegroom, to enable her to choose her husband. Many illustrious, that's very famous suitors. Suitors means kings, then who are suitable to marry her, came, lured, attracted by tales of Amritaprabha's beauty. They are all attracted by the beauty of Amritaprabha and they came to attend that is Swayamvara and assembled there. Now coming to the second para, among them was Meghavana, the great grandson of a former king of Kashmir. Amritaprabha shyly cast her eyes over the court and wondered whom she would choose. To Meghavana's surprise, the princess stopped before him and put the garland around his neck. He rose to his feet, unable to contain his joy. So this is a Swayamvara picture. See how the princess then all assembled there and Amritaprabha is given having a garland in her, then walking there to choose her bridegroom. Okay. Now this meaning of this is, among them who was there? Meghavana. Who was Meghavana? Meghavana was the great grandson of a former king of Kashmir. That is, his name is Yudhishthira. His name, his grandfather, former king, that is Yudhishthira's great grandson. Amritaprabha came there and then she gave a quick look at the hall, that is where all suitors gathered, and she wondered whom to choose. Then she stood before Meghavana and then she selected him and put the garland around his neck. And Meghana was very happy and he stood up immediately. After that, the couple moved forward to seek the king's blessings. As the king stepped down from his throne, the priest cried out in surprise, "Your Honor, the parasol of Varna has cast its shadow over the prince." So that is, both of them went to whom? The king. King means that is Amritaprabha's father, to get his blessings. The king also stepped and came down from his throne to bless the couple. But suddenly the priest cried out in surprise. He was surprised because what he said, the parasol of Varna has cast its shadow over the prince. So what is that? Parasol of Varna. And the king said, "It is true," exclaimed the king, "my son, you are favored by the gods." So the king said to Meghavana, "You are blessed by gods." Meghavana looked up in surprise Wondering at the meaning of these words, all at once he saw by his side a beautiful, dazzling white parasol with exquisite decorations that was casting its shadow over him. Meghavana was not able to understand what they are talking, but he suddenly saw that is by his side a beautiful, that dazzling, shining white parasol with exquisite decorations that was casting its shadow. Exquisite is very well decorated, beautiful. And this is Lord of Varna. He is a Lord of Varna. His parasol only he gave. And sixth parasol, this is the parasol of Varna. Whose parasol? That is parasol of a Varna god. Who is Varna? The Lord of seas. He explained to the king. It casts shadow on none else but a sovereign of the whole world. You are destined for glory and brilliance. Then whom it will bless? It will bless, that is who will become very famous, sovereign of the whole world, that is a superpower of the whole world. You are destined, that is for a glory and brilliance. So who said? The king said. Seventh, Tara, dazed by these portents. Portent means what? Bad omens, and by his good fortune, both are mixed. Bad omen as well as his good fortune, both are mixed. And Meghavagana brought his bride and the divine parasol back home. He came to Kashmir with the Amrit Barbha and the divine parasol. Dazed means amazed. Then eighth para is telling, upon his return, the ministers of the Kashmir court sought him out and offered the throne to him. We are dissatisfied with our present ruler, they said. He has devoted himself to a life of prayer, and the affairs of the kingdom lie neglected. The people suffer because of this. Your noble character and bravery are well known in these parts. Honor us and the land by accepting our offer. So what they said, upon his return, the ministers in Kashmir court, they wanted to replace the king. Who was the king? Sandhimati. Sandhimati was the king that time, and he was proven unfit ruler. He was why unfit? Because he filled his court with the rishis and saints and spent his time in forest in religious activities. So therefore, his ministers replaced him with Meghavana. So that is they wanted to change the king. And he also, Sandhipati also gave willingly his throne to Meghavana. Then Meghavana became the king of Kashmir. Soon he proclaimed a law against the killing of living beings. It became his ambition to conquer other kingdoms to impose this law on them as well. So Meghavana now he became the king of Kashmir. So he is Meghavana, and he proclaimed a law against the killing of living beings. What he proclaimed, that is, he declared officially what he declared, that is, no living being should be killed. And it became his ambition also, what, to conquer other kingdoms and to impose, to bring this, to introduce this law in that country also. So what he decided, once while on an expedition near the sea, the king told his weary army to rest in the shade of some palm groves. I must use this time to plan a way to conquer the island of Lanka. He thought, it is the land of demons and needs to be taught the ways, that is, The ways, that is a peace. But how will I cross the great seas with my army? So what he was thinking, so he started an expedition. The expedition is journey or voyage. For what? With a particular aim. So what was his aim? His aim was to conquer the neighboring land. And he told his very much tired army to rest in the shade of some palm grove. Grove means what? Same type of trees you will find, palm groves. There he had only palm trees. And what he said, he wanted to use that time to conquer the island of Lanka, he thought, and it is a land of demons. Lanka was having what? Only the demons, and he needs to be taught the ways of peace. So how will I cross the great seas with my army? It was because sea was there, sea was there in between. So how he would cross? And he came with his army. All of a sudden, there was a cry in the air. It seemed to come from a wood by the shore, not far from where the royal horses were tethered. The cry came again, and the king heard the plaintive call. Even under Meghavahana's rule, I have been slain. Suddenly, what happened? When he was there, looking for a way, then how to go, how to cross the sea, then he heard a cry. That is, it came in the air. So what happened? It was a shouting of a, that is, and what they were doing, the soldiers, they tethered, they tied the horse to the pole to take rest. Again the cry came, and the king, no, he heard the plaintive call. What do you mean by plaintive call? Very painful, that is sad call. Sad call. Then what it was telling? Even under Meghavahana's rule, I have been slain. See what is this? They are killing me. Even under Meghavahana's rule, the cry was telling this. 12th, in his agitation, the king did not wait to summon his officers but ran towards the wood. Plunging through the undergrowth, he fought his way till he came to a clearing. There before him was a temple of a Chandika, that is Durga, with some sort of human sacrifice in progress. On the steps, a man lay on the ground, his arms raised for mercy, and a menacing looking barbarian stood over him, brandishing his sword. In agitation, the king, without waiting for his officers, he ran towards the forest. So suddenly plunging, suddenly moving forward towards the forest. So amidst the undergrowth of the plants, he came to a clear ground. There he saw a temple of Chandika, where a human sacrifice was in progress on the steps of the temple. A man was lying on the ground with his arms raised for a mercy. So menacing looking means what? Barbarians. That is threatening barbarians. Menacing, that is barbarians. He was standing over him, brandishing his sword, then moving his sword. Then who was there? Man was lying on the ground. He was crying for mercy. But who was there standing next to him? Barbarian was standing, ready to kill him. Stop, cried the king, shocked at the sight. You wretch, you dare threaten another's life in my realm? The barbarian dropped his sword in terror and fell on his knees before the king. Oh, noble one, have mercy. I am the leader of a troop of barbarians that live in this wood. My little son has fallen prey to some disease and is on his deathbed. If I kill this man, the gods will be pleased and save my son's life. If you prevent this sacrifice, my son dies, and the rest of my troop will give up their lives with him. So what is that? Stop, the king cried, being shocked at the sight of a sacrifice. What is that? The wretch, that is a cruel person. The king asked how he was bold enough to take another's life in his realm, that is in his kingdom. And in this country, the barbarian drops his sword in fear and knelt down before the king, asking for mercy. He told he was the leader of the barbarian troop, and that is in the wood, where it is that barbarian people are there in that wood, living in that wood. His little son, whatever, got some disease, and he was on his deathbed. If he gave that man, that means that who is ready for sacrificing, if he gave that man as a sacrifice to God, what God will do? God would be pleased and save his son. So that's all. If the king prevented that sacrifice, what would happen? His son would die. And the rest of his troop, soldiers, what they would do? They would give up their lives with him. They also would die with the small boy. And the king glanced towards a bundle on the temple porch and presumed it to be the sacrifice boy. He saw that there was a bundle there on the steps, and he made it that clear that that bundle was nothing but a sacrifice boy lying there. His heart was torn with confusion and compassion, so he felt very bad, and he wanted to do something to save them. This man, whom you desire to protect, continued the barbarian, was wandering about alone and friendless in the forest. Is he of more value to you than this child with whom many persons are connected? So the barbarian told the king, the man whom they are going to sacrifice was roaming alone and he had no friends. And so, where he was roaming in the forest only. So, what happened? He thought of sacrificing him in the place of his son. So that what happened? If his son is saved, even the soldiers also what? They will also live. Otherwise, what will happen? All would die along with him. They were ready to die with the boy. And next one, the victim sat crying on the ground. That is the fellow who was to be sacrificed. He crying on the ground. A look of terror on his face. Tears fell from the barbarian's eyes also. Sir, tell me what to do. He cried, I cannot see my son suffer this way. So the barbarian was begging king to take some decision and to allow him to sacrifice that man in the place of his son. The king spoke firmly, do not be distressed. I will save your son as well as this victim. I offer my body in sacrifice to Chandika. Kill me, O barbarian, may these two persons live. So what he said, that is, the king said he was ready to give his life. He said firmly, he would save both of them. How? By giving his own life to Chandika. So he asked barbarian to kill him. The barbarian, struggling between incredulity and fear, took a step backwards. Sir, you are the king. Your life should be protected at all times. Do not pity this victim. Let him die. His life is of no significance. What do you mean by incredulity? That is showing disbelief. What happened? He was struggling because the barbarian was happy when the beginning that is he got a man so that to give him in the place of his son. So his son will be saved and that man will be sacrificed for the sake of the boy. So he thought, but what happened when king went everything, then went something, it took another direction. So what he said, so he was surprised and he was not able to take any decision. So he was asking the king, so he was asking the king, let that man die because he is of no value as there is nobody for him. He is all alone. But the king shook his head impatiently I can use my body to stop a killing. Why should I not? Do not speak another word. Kill me. The king, what he said? He said he was not ready to change his decision. So he said, I can use my body for the sacrifice. Why should I not give my life? So you kill me first. Don't speak another word. He told to the barbarian. The barbarian hung his head and made no move to take his sword. So whatever, he was not ready to kill the king. If you cannot bring your sword to strike at me, I will use my own sword for the purpose. So saying, the king drew out his sword. So suddenly what happened? The king, if you are not ready, what I would do? I will only take and then kill myself. Then the barbarian and the victim watched in a horror. As Meghavahana was about to strike himself, his head was covered with the divine flowers of exquisite color and a perfume, and someone held back his arm. The king whirled around in surprise and beheld a person of a heavenly appearance. Then he realized that the barbarian, the victim, and the ailing boy had vanished. Suddenly, what happened? What happened? That is, when he was about to kill himself, that is the barbarian and the victim, they were watching, they were afraid. They were struck with wonder. As Meghavahana, what he was about to strike himself with his sword, then suddenly what happened? Flowers, divine flowers, fell on his head. But they are all of executive color and perfume also different smell and different color. That is all divine. And someone held back his arm. Someone also holding his arm back. The king turned and looked around. Then he was in surprise because he saw a divine person standing there, and he realized everybody disappeared. Barbarian, victim, and Elimba all disappeared, vanished. He saw only the divine person standing there, holding his hand. A divine being addressed the bewildered king. I am Varuna, the lord of the seas. I have come to reclaim my parasol that was carried away from my town by the powerful Bama, the father of your father-in-law. It has powers to kill calamities in my land. I created this illusion to test your nobility of mind. You are truly compassionate and noble. So what is the divine being? Then he addressed the king. Who is he? I am Varuna, the lord of the seas. Why I came? I have come here to reclaim, to take back my parasol that was carried away. Who carried away that? From his town, the powerful Bama. Who is Bama? The father of his father-in-law. That is Meghavahana's father-in-law. And what about the speciality of the parasol? The parasol has the powers to quell, to remove calamities in his land. I created this illusion to test the nobility of a mind. Then who created all this scene? That is barbarian, then his boy, then army, that man, everybody was created by whom? Lord of Varna only. And you are truly compassionate and noble. Then Meghavahana bowed before the divine being and returned the parasol reverently to him. Then he asked hesitantly, O Lord, encouraged by your praise, I wish to ask for a boon. I need help to cross the waters so that I may conquer the island. So immediately Meghavahana bowed before the divine, that is Lord of Varuna, and then he returned the parasol, respectfully he returned parasol to him only. Then he hesitantly, he was not ready to ask the boon, but even then he came forward and he asked the boon. What is that boon he asked? He wanted help for what? To cross the waters, because he was all his army was there, standing near the shore only. Why they were standing? Because they couldn't cross the sea. Where did they want to go? They wanted to go to Lanka to conquer that land, because demons are ruling. He wanted to bring his law. That is what? No killing of living beings. So Varuna smiled. So he asked help for what? To cross the water. And Varuna also smiled. So be it. When you decide to cross the ocean, I will pull away the water. Then he disappeared with the parasol. So when he asked, Varuna then disappeared. Who? Varuna disappeared. He gave the boon. So what he said, whenever he wanted to cross the sea, then he will help him to cross the river, cross the sea. The following day, Meghavahana assembled his, the next day, following day means the next day, Meghavahana assembled and his troops on the shore. The waters swelled and crashed on the sand, so the water raised up. The soldiers trembled at his might. They were surprised to see its might. Meghavahana rode forward and plunged into the foaming ocean. But Meghavahana, then on his horse, where he entered into the sea, all at once the waters parted, and the king, smiling at his troops in astonishment, beckoned them to follow him. So immediately he turned back, who Meghavahana, and he saw they were all surprised, who the troop, and he told them, beckoned them to follow. In this wondrous manner, Meghavahana reached Lanka and won over its king Vibhishana in the form of friendship. So the king Vibhishana and they became friends. On returning home, Amritaprabha welcomed him and then looked around in confusion. Now Amritaprabha was there to receive Meghavahana and where is the parasol, my lord? She asked. It never leaves your side. So she was wondering because she saw only parasol was given to him by her father. It was never mine to keep, he answered. Yet the mark of a favor shown to me by its divine owner will guide me through my life. So what he said, parasol is not with me because it is not mine. It was whose parasol? It was the Lord Varuna's parasol. But even then, that I got that confidence. What is that? He will guide. The divine power will guide me throughout my life. As he spoke, the skies darkened as if the parasol was casting its shadow over him, even from its heavenly abode. So when he was telling this, suddenly he saw dark clouds, then as a symbol of water, parasol's protection. So this is all the story, my dear. Thank you.